Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show, and in today's episode, I wanted to talk on Black History Month, you know, because it's one of those months where it's like, I don't know, like, I feel like Black History, it should be celebrated all year long. It shouldn't have to have its own, month. I think I've heard that. Who said that before? Was it Morgan Freeman? It was somebody of a high figure that had said that, and they was like, Black History should be celebrated all year long, and not just, for a month. Like, I want my life to be celebrated, like, I prefer August. Like, August is my birth month, so, like, celebrate me in the month of August, or, but any other month. But it's like February being the smallest month, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we could have had, like, Black History Month in, like, March. I feel like March is, like, the longest month of the year. Even though it has, like, literally the same amount of days as, like, every other month. Maybe a day longer or shorter. But, no, like, I feel like March, like, it goes on a little bit longer, all right? So, I think, we should switch Black History Month to March, all right? So, if you see me celebrating a lot of Black History stuff next month, I'm just saying, all right? But no, I feel like this episode, because everybody already knows about, the rest of the world's Black history. Like, we have, like, so many different Black leaders out there, whether it's somebody in the music industry, the acting industry, just, like, some leader, some old-time leader, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. That's one thing, I used to learn a lot about Martin Luther King when I was a kid. Like, Martin Luther King, because I think that even has surprised some teachers, when you look at a kid in school and you see all of them playing, like, cool math games, and you see them outside having fun, and meanwhile I'm reading books about Martin Luther King and going on and using my internet time. Like, I could be doing anything on the internet, but I'm using my internet time to go and read articles about Martin Luther King, and then, also reading about, like, books about racism back in the day. Yeah, it was, I think that was something they did. There is this after school program. I remember they called me out in the middle of class. It wasn't like they waited until after school to confront me about it. No, they called me in the middle of class. And no, they wanted me to, like, sit down and listen to some Martin Luther King like speeches. I think the one that they had me listen to, of course, is I Have a Dream speech. And, yeah, it was like, they were shocked by it, because they was all like, most kids would be bored. I'm like, fam, I'm listening to somebody that I like listening to and stuff. So I'm like, nah, you can't like go and, like, think it's gonna, like, affect me or, mess my day up. I'm like, nah, I want to listen to MLK. So, but, yeah, like, that's just something where I'm like, I've always have loved everything about Black history and stuff, where it's like, for whether, like I said, yeah, if it's, somebody in music, somebody in, acting, or just leaders, whatever the situation is, I'm like, yeah, it's like Black history. That's something where it's just, it has such a strong stand in this world where it's like, it can't be ignored. And I feel like that if we are going to celebrate Black history in February, we got to, like, celebrate it like it's Christmas. We got to celebrate it like it's the 4th of July and things. And I just feel like it's even though we get our month and we may see Nike release some Black History Month clothes and shoes and other clothing brands do it, I just feel like that enough isn't getting celebrated. I feel like more should get celebrated and stuff. So, but anyways, I guess if I could, if somebody were to ask me, like, what would I, as a, Black person, what would I add to Black history? And I'm like, I think it would just be the same thing as everybody else, just motivation and dedication to whatever you got your mindset to and things. I just don't want it to just, I mean, obviously, for anybody, that's African American, I do want them to, if they do look at me as a motivational factor in their life, where it's like, well, hey, TMossBoss, he been getting called the N-word literally since he started content creating. Nah, man, like I could go out and do it too. Like I just gotta have that same attitude as his. And no, like to honestly talk to any like young-minded, but I mean this advice can be for anybody, but just to talk to any young-minded like African American, creator and stuff. Do not, whether you're in the music, movies, YouTube, Twitch streaming, TikTok, bro. I don't care if you just want to be a meme page on Twitter. Do not let anybody in this world try to crush your dreams because of the color of your skin. Because no, the thing is this, with all of the racism that I have dealt with throughout my life, bruh, not just in a portion, no, throughout my life, I can think of kids that I went to school with back in elementary that was racist, middle school, racist, high school. I think we all know the one story of the one girl, she rejected me literally because I'm black. And I've dealt, and then, after school, and then, getting into content creating and stuff. And then even, I believe, no, that's something where it's like, I truly do believe that there were some people at that cafe that I worked with that was racist. So I've dealt with racism a good portion of my life, like maybe like a good 80 to 90% of my life. All right. I'm pretty sure even the doctor, when he looked at me, he was like, oh, another black. No, I'm playing. All right. No, to whoever helped me, be born into this world. Shout out to that man or woman. But anyways, no, it's just something where I know people, they probably would ask me that question though. It's like, how do you deal with it? Like how is it that you've managed to go so long dealing with it and stuff? And that's honestly what I think of at times where there were people like that are my parents' age right now that was going to school at the time when racism, either around my parents' age, slightly older, but anyways, they went to school. They was getting spit on. They was getting rocks thrown at them. They was getting bullied. They had to go to their own little section to just drink from a water fountain. They were getting, beaten by cops, literally, for the color. They couldn't even eat in restaurants. There were so many things that black people couldn't do. And I'm like, me just getting called the N-word because I uploaded a 15-minute video on YouTube. There's no comparison. There's no comparison whatsoever. There's no way possible that you can look at the racism that I've dealt with throughout my life and then compare it to the racism that people were dealing with back in the day, like back in the 50s and 60s. Literally, like, I feel like that was like the peak level of racism. I mean, like, racism has always been bad. It's always, back in them days and even beforehand, like slavery, all that stuff. It is always. And then even that, it's like, even you think there's literally black people being used as slaves. I can't look at the racism that I've dealt with, and I guess that might just be my ancestors just living within me and stuff, where I can't look at the racism that I deal with and then make it seem like it's the worst form of racism that's ever existed. And I'm like, there is people that was getting beaten because of the color of their skin. So that's why I'm like, I mean, it still goes on till this day, but it's not as bad. Like that's the beauty of like black people, is that we can go out and about. Like, yeah, we got to be cautious, but it's like, it wasn't like how it was before. Back then, I'm like, yeah, we had to go to like black towns, most likely black businesses, like it was just it was so bad. It was like we couldn't just be out in the general public. Like now we can be out in the general public. I can go to the mall and buy me a pair of sneakers and stuff. Back then it was like if that store was owned by a white person and I go in there and I'm all like, hey, I just want to get me some shoes, I have the money, they have that right to tell me no because of the color of my skin. There is literally buildings. That's something that I don't know a lot of people. And even though it was a comedy movie, but it did have like a small representation of like what was going on. And I'm like, and that was just like the recent movie that I can think of, like right off the top of the dome. But there's this Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy movie called Life, and there's a scene in there where it was so real. It was the realest scene that in that like whole movie. Well, one of the realest scenes in that whole movie. But anyways, Martin Lawrence Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, they go into this white only restaurant. I don't think they didn't see that it was a white only restaurant, but anyways, so they go in there and they wanted to get something to eat. They wasn't serving them, and then they was like, oh well, can we get some pie or whatever? And then they was like, look at the sign, and yeah, it said white only. That was literally going on back in the day. Now, even though that was like their comedy way of doing it, but no, like if you look through like history books, if you just watch like documentaries, whatever you prefer to like look into and stuff, there is black people that were having to just, do like a sit down protest in restaurants just so they could get some sort of food. And then it depending on where they were at, and I don't even think it really even depended on where they were at. Like, I think, if they were having to go in there and do that, no, the owner or cook, whoever, would call the cops, and then they would get arrested for literally just wanting to eat, bruh. Like, there was people that didn't even want us to eat in this world. So it's like, when I look at the racism that I've dealt with from, YouTubers calling me the N-word, from, their fan base calling me the N-word, from just, random people on the internet calling me the N-word, I can't compare. I'm like, the thing is this, I can eat. I can go out and shop. I could go out and get water anywhere. It don't matter. Like, the thing, and I can there's white people where I can look into their, their face and see that they genuinely care about me and things. Like, I want them to feel like they're forced to care about me because of the color of my skin. But no, you can see that they genuinely care about me. They genuinely, worry for my safety. And they, it ain't something where it's all like, oh, why? I have to, because he dealt with this, or it's like whatever like the dumb reason can be and stuff. But it's like, nah, it's like there's just I do love that. I do love that there are people in this world, like from white people to just anybody, where they can look at me and no, on some stuff where it's like they don't see my race, they see my character, they see who I am as a person. If I'm out doing wrong, they will see that. If I'm out doing right, they will see that. So it's like, it ain't on some stuff where it's like, oh, well, I gotta be forced to be cool with him or have love for him or be in a relationship with him because he's black. No. I want people to love me for me. Like, if it didn't matter if I was black, Asian, white, Hispanic, freaking, just anybody, Indian, freaking, I don't care, yeah, somebody from the Middle East, it doesn't matter what the situation is. They can look at me and be like, hey, you know what? I like you, for your character, for who you are, for what you put out into this world. But not, solely based off of the fact that you're the same color as a Milky Way candy bar. Well, no, because I think I might be a little bit lighter. Like, if I were to hold up, now I gotta go out and no, because I'm like, I don't really be eating candy like that no more. Because if I buy it, I gotta eat it, and I'm like, I don't want to. Hold on, because I don't even want to look it up. But anyways, roughly the same skin complexion as a Milky Way bar. But nah, man, it's one of those things where it's like, I look at my life and I'm like, fam, like, I can't say that I'm, not a part of Black history. I feel like, I've done significant, it may be like the bare to the barest of bare minimum of, Black history, like the Black history that I put out into this world. But I do feel like that I had put out a portion of it, and I can't even be mad about it. Like, no, that genuinely makes me happy. It genuinely makes me happy that it's like I've had some sort of like history in Black history and stuff. So I'm like, nah, man, it's freaking dope. I'm like, I love that. I love thinking about that. I love the fact that it's like I can say that in things and stuff. So, but yeah, it's like I've been through it, like I've been through it. Like I said, I've dealt with racism all throughout my life, from school to jobs to freaking whatever it was. I was like, I've dealt with it. Even just, me just being out, hanging out with my friends. Like, I had to say, if people, there's all like all the racism like that I've dealt with, it's probably like a speck of the amount of racism that Black people was dealing with back in the day. And I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, and I look at it and I see where it's like other races where it's like they've dealt with racism themselves, whether they're Middle Eastern, Asian. And I mean, yeah, even when it was like we had it not too long ago where Asian people was literally getting attacked just because they're Asian. And I'm like, and that stuff still happens. And it's not, man. I'm like, it's stuff like that where it's just, I look at what I like, what I've dealt with my, what my ancestors have dealt with just all black people around the world, what they've dealt with. And it's like, I look at what I see other people, what they've dealt with, whether it's somebody of race, somebody of gender, somebody of, of their, like preferences on like who they want to be with, like relationship wise and stuff. And yeah, it's like, when you hear stories, and that's why I really want to end this off with, where it's like we gotta love one another. But it's like when you hear stories of Asian people wrongfully getting beaten and killed because they're Asian, when you hear Middle Eastern people, they get checked at, the airport and things because they look shady. They look like they're up to no good, and they're trying to just do is just go back home to freaking wherever and stuff, and just be chilling. They're not there thinking, or everybody's thinking that they there for the wrong reasons. They just there to go on their plane and freaking, just whatever and stuff. Just go home and just chill. The fact that even people in the LGBTQ community having it where it's like they be getting shot up at these clubs and stuff because people have something against their, preferences on who they want to be with. And I'm like, nah, it's stuff like that where you look at it and it's like, fam, it ain't no different than what black people have dealt with. It's no different at all. So it's like when I look at black history, I look at least for me, I look at my history as like universal history. I want people in every group whatsoever to look at my history and to be like, hey, you know what? Like, I could take motivation from this man. I can look at him and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I can be a better version of myself. I just gotta, keep my head down and just stay more motivated and dedicated to my arts and craft and, the stuff that I want to. Because the thing is this, what I want from people, I overall want people to love one another, but I want everybody in this world to make their own history. Because I feel like that even though we have so many history books and libraries and stuff, I think it's about time we start, really buckling down and creating our history and stuff. So it's like, so every month can, just be a celebrational, like, month. And is celebrational a word? I feel like it is. I feel like I've heard people say celebrational and stuff. Anyways, all right. But no, I just feel like that, everybody in this world should be getting celebrated. It don't matter, like, who you are, what you do, how you look. Like, we should all get celebrated, and so... But anyways, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. I ain't gonna do no promo stuff because I feel like this was a important episode for, for no promo stuff and things. But anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.